It's hot and sunny, 27 degrees in fact, and a big crowd of around 18,000 have gathered here at the Hippodrome de Saint-Galmier for the 33rd IAAF World Cross Country Championships. The hosts are well represented, and though it's unlikely that the Africans will be seriously challenged, French athletes will be among the best of the Europeans. There are 6 races in all. The first, the junior women's race, held over a little more than 6,000 metres, 3 circuits of the track. 123 athletes in all entered for this race, and 36 countries represented. And you can see them there from as far afield as New Zealand, Uzbekistan. Look, there's a team from Zimbabwe as well. There you can see one of the Zimbabwean athletes, Baradzo Shinda. Well, as has become the fashion in recent times, look out for the Ethiopians and the Kenyans. The first time this race was held, the junior women's race that is, was 1989. The winner, Malene Volof, that fine Swedish athlete. But since then, we've had 3 Ethiopian winners and 7 Kenyans. And look there, right at the front already, the green vests of Ethiopia. And you'll also see there the black and red of the Kenyan athletes. It's an interesting course, this. There's a purposely constructed muddy section. 667, that's Galeta Burka, the winner of the Ethiopian junior title this year. Already it's turning into a head-to-head between the green of Ethiopia and the black and red vests of Kenya. So dominant at all age groups. Look at that, a triumvirate of green vests. There's a couple of Japanese up there at the moment. Akane Wakita wearing 700, she's having a good run, as is Hitomi Nia. But a group of a dozen or so athletes, evenly split between Kenyans and Ethiopians, are getting away. You can see them going through there, the muddy section. But we've got to stress the point, it's very, very warm today, around about 27 degrees. And for those purists who believe that cross-country is a winter sport, well, it's not like that today. More like a midsummer's day. But Galeta Burka is getting away and taking with her the leading Kenyan athlete, that's Veronica Wanjiru. But Burka, third in this race 2 years ago, and the barefoot Wanjiru, the winner of the Kenyan junior title. But now Burka, it's turning into a big, big lead, and we start looking at the record books at times like these. Her advantage at the front now, more than 20 seconds. It's an outstanding performance by the youngster. 19 years old. She's run 4:06 for 1,500 metres, so she's got very good track speed indeed. The bronze medalist from 2003 is going to be the gold medalist today. First blood to the Ethiopians, Galeta Burka. And you can see the second athlete, Veronica Wanjiru, just coming round the bend there. The time just outside 20 minutes. So Galeta Burka joins illustrious names. Paula Radcliffe won this title back in 1992. The Kenyan Sally Barsosio in 1994. Could this be a star of the future? And look at that, the biggest winning margin ever in this event. 27 seconds, the gap between Galeta Burka and Veronica Wanjiru. And as expected, the race dominated by the East Africans. Akane Wakita of Japan was the leading non-African, and an interesting athlete in 20th place, Emily Pidgeon, the Briton. She's got 3 more years in this age group, so look out for her in years to come. But it's first blood to the Ethiopians. They take the individual title with Galeta Burka, but I suspect the Kenyans may well have taken the team prize. You can see the 3 East Africans, an Ethiopian in the middle, and 2 Kenyans on either side of her. So Galeta Burka, will she follow in a fine tradition of Ethiopian middle distance women? Kenya, 16. They do take the team prize. Ethiopia in second. Japan, they were third. What a traumatic start it has been to 2005 for this man. Kenenisa Bekele, he lost his fiancée on January the 4th. Alem and Kenenisa were out on a training run back at home in Ethiopia. And Alem, she died of a suspected heart attack out there on the road. Inevitably, there was a lot of doubt as to whether Bekele would be competing here, but here he is, and perhaps seeking a unique 4th double. The men's short race, it's just the 8th running of the race, and so far Kenya have won 4 of them, and Bekele, i.e. Ethiopia, have won 3. 4,196 metres, 2 laps of the track. The green vests of Ethiopia and Kenenisa Bekele showing prominently at the front from the start. You can also see there the vest of Qatar. They're represented here by 2 former Kenyans, Saif Said Shaheen, formerly known as Stephen Chirono, an outstanding steeplechaser to say the least, and Abdullah Ahmed Hassan, the former Albert Chep Karui. He also goes in the long race here, as indeed does Shaheen. So Bekele nearest to the camera. Alongside him, Abdullah Ahmed Hassan, wearing 105 there, Khalid El Amri, the Moroccan. So once again, as I think will be the story of the day, the Kenyans and the Ethiopians packing well at the front, although the Qataris having a good run, and you can see them both there. The former Albert Chep Karui, Abdullah Ahmed Hassan at the front alongside Bekele. Saif Said Shaheen lying back in 3rd place at the moment. Just over one of those undulations there. It's a very interesting course with log obstacles, those 12-foot mounds. And you can see Shaheen out there on the outside. So 3 Qatari vests at the moment in the leading 12. Although I think you've got to make the point, it is still very much the early stages. But Kenenisa Bekele, what an athlete he is. On the country, he's won his last 19 races. Starting in Newcastle, that was back on the 29th of December 2001. Unbeaten over the country since then. Last year on the track, of course, those 2 world records over 5,000 metres and 10,000 metres. And right at the front now, in the white vest, you can see Rashid Ramsey wearing 20. A handful of Kenyans around him as well. And Saif Said Shaheen, the steeplechase world record holder. I think we can expect something from him here as well. Bekele out in front, Ramsey there in 2nd place, wearing 101, the Kenyan Shadrach Kosgei. And you can see 3 Qatari vests packing well on the outside there. But up one of those mounds, kicking on, Kenenisa Bekele, Kosgei in 2nd place, Ramsey there in 3rd. .134, that is Salem, lying in 4th place. But look at the familiar gait as well, back in about 6th place of Shaheen. Incredible sprint speed, that man. He perhaps the biggest challenger here to Bekele, if indeed there is one. But doesn't the Ethiopian look comfortable at the front? He said after he won his 3rd double last year that there was no way he would attempt to do it on a 4th occasion. But he's back here again for the short race. And there are some of those log barriers, proving very little problem to these athletes. Been running now for almost 4 minutes. We can expect him to be out there for somewhere in excess of 11 minutes. This race, just a little more than 4,000 metres, 4,196 in all. 2 laps of the track with that finishing spur of 284 metres. There we are, it's more like a hurdle race in this section. Bekele out in front, Salem in 2nd place, Ramsey still going well there in 3rd. The Kenyans also featuring. On to another lap. And there on the inside, Shadrach Kosgei wearing 101, he's the leading Kenyan at the moment. But Bekele just taking a look over his left shoulder, just checking who's there. And if he looks and cranes his neck, he'll see 3 Qataris, including Saif Said Shaheen, the former Stephen Chirono. He appears to be just waiting to make his move. But the field now thinning out at the front. And it's Kenenisa Bekele turning up the pace, although the Qataris have come to the front now. 3 in the first 4. This is through the mud section. And right at the front now, Salem. Alongside him, Hassan. And just for a moment, The three Qataris starting to dominate, and here comes the move. Saif Saeed Shaheen kicking on, and he's opening up a gap on the field, and this is certainly a decisive move, but is it the winning move? And Kenenisa Bekele getting after him now. The gap about 15 metres, and it really has broken up the field, but has it shaken off the champion? The winner of this title for the last 3 years, Kenenisa Bekele. We've talked about the problems he's had, which have inevitably distracted his preparation for these championships. And Shaheen is really testing him, but Bekele is starting to eat into that advantage. And whilst the steeplechaser has shaken off all the field, well, it's all the field but one, because Bekele is getting after him. He runs hard off the turns, does Shaheen, but Bekele's working hard to get after him, and he's closing that gap, and it's now down to 5 metres. And in the end, it's a break with only partial success. And look just how well Bekele's working up that hill. And now panic over for the Ethiopian. He's got onto the back of Shaheen, and now it seems to be a race between these two. That kick coming a little more than halfway through the race, and it hasn't proved decisive in terms of shaking off the champion. And Bekele not only catches him up, but goes straight past. What an athlete he is. You can also see they're wearing 97. Abraham Chebi, the first we've seen of him. Another outstanding 5,000 metre runner, Chebi. He's known for a fast finish. But you've got to wonder, has that move by Shaheen and the continuing work done here by Kenenisa Bekele run the finish out of the Kenyan? It's a very strong field, make no bones about it here. Outstanding talent on the track, and that's one thing that this short race at the World Cross Country Championships has done. It's brought the world's top track runners into the World Cross Country Championships. And Bekele, whose talent, of course, spans such a broad range of distances, less so him, but men like Chebi and Saif Saeed Shaheen enjoying the World Cross Country Championships here in France. But Kenenisa Bekele, the problem appears to be over. He's going to be on his feet now for a little more than 2.5 minutes or so, but he appears to be running away from this field. So Bekele, still just 22, it's remarkable, isn't it? You consider those 3 World Cross Country Championship doubles, starting in Dublin in 2002, then on to Lausanne in 2003, then in Brussels a year ago, after which he said, that's it, I'm not going to try and do this again. But he's back in 2005 and well on his way to winning the short race. Chebi's making a good move there in second place. But now, less than 800 metres to go for Kenenisa Bekele. Over those logs. Those were really proving no obstacle at all to the Ethiopian. Chebi perhaps closing that gap just a little bit though. It's getting down to about 8 to 9 metres now. You can't help but think there is just something left in the tank. Shaheen, he's been relegated to 3rd. Also having a good run, Isaac Songok, the second of the Kenyans. He's making good ground at the moment. He's back in 4th place. And as Shaheen starts to fade, it looks like we could have a Kenyan 2nd and 3rd here. But Kenenisa Bekele, he'll bear in mind that tomorrow he's going to come back and run the long race. So he wants to win this, but he doesn't want to expend too much energy. Through the mud section, well, Bekele just floats over it, doesn't he? Chebi, perhaps just struggling a bit through that. You can see he doesn't like it, does he, the Kenyan? And Bekele makes another 2 or 3 metres through that section. So now, inside the last 200 metres for Kenenisa Bekele. He's won so many titles, hasn't he? He won a junior title, now those 3 doubles. So this seeking his 8th World Cross Country Individual Championship. We've seen him beaten indoors this season, but now having gone home and prepared specifically for these championships, he's come back, perhaps not quite as strong as ever, but certainly strong enough to beat the rest of the world over the country. And he looks over his shoulder, and Abraham Chebby has settled for second place. So Kenenisa Bekele makes it 4 short race titles at the World Cross Country Championships. Chebby comes in for second place. Songok will be third. Saif Said Shaheen fading, but he will just get 4th place in front of his countryman Salim. A good run, in fact, by the Qataris. They'll have done well in the team competition here. But Kenenisa Bekele, 11:33, 5 seconds ahead of Abraham Chebby. Isaac Songok there in third, so it was second and third for the Kenyans. Ethiopia in 4th and 5th, and then those 3 Qataris in 6th, 7th and 8th. And as we expected, well, it's the Africans dominate, isn't it? And the first of the non-Africans, they're in 13th place, Torres of the United States. Sami Kipketer, former Commonwealth champion at 5,000 metres, there in 17th. And the names of 2 more Qataris there, so 5 athletes from Qatar in the first 20. Good performance from them. Kevin Sullivan, good on the track, 21st here for Canada. And Damien Chopra of Tanzania, there in 27th, with Christian Belts, the Swiss, in 28th. More than 8,000 metres face these 94 athletes in the women's long race, and what a roll of honour it's got. Greta Weitz, the great Norwegian, won this on 5 occasions. Zola Budd, well, she arrived from South Africa to Great Britain and very soon became a world cross-country champion. She won this title twice. Lynn Jennings, the great American, 3 times. Dorata Tulu, the Ethiopian, she won it, as has Paula Radcliffe on 2 occasions. But once again, we're expecting here a head-to-head between those 2 great East African nations, Ethiopia and Kenya. Benita Johnson, the Australian, she's already showing pretty prominently. The winner of this title 12 months ago, that's Benita Johnson there on the left. Born in Mackay, up in Queensland. The same small town as Kathy Freeman. But Benita Johnson preparing for marathons more these days, but it was a bit of a surprise when she won this title 12 months ago. I suppose you'd have to say it would be quite a surprise if she won here. She's in very good company indeed. It includes Worknesh Godani, Tirunesh Dibaba, the 2 Ethiopians. They've been in good form in the winter on the track, particularly Dibaba. The Kenyans also showing well there. Johnson there in 3rd place, surrounded by 4 Kenyans, including Alice Timberlil. Also there, Isabella Achichi. 8:56, that is Achichi. She leads, Johnson alongside her. So the Australian going out hard. But look at that, 12 athletes. Evenly split really between Kenyans, Ethiopians, and Australian there in 2nd place. Let's try and identify 1 or 2 other athletes in there. Meselech Melkimu of Ethiopia wearing 541. Just 19, the winner of the short course title in Ethiopia this year, so expect her to feature well. Alice Timberlil wears 857. Catherine Karui for Kenya, 854. But it's still Benita Johnson, 781 there on the left-hand side. Alongside her, Isabella Achichi. Achichi, the silver medalist at the Olympic Games last year in Athens, and she's gone to the front. You could just see Catherine Karui at the back of that group. But it's a fierce pace. 8 athletes away. 3 Kenyans, 4 Ethiopians, and an Australian. It's Achichi at the front, dominating. 818 on the right there, Getuwami, preparing to run in the Boston Marathon this year, a former champion at the World Cross Country Championships. 5:39, Tirunesh Dibaba. She became the youngest ever World Track Champion 2 years ago when she won the 5,000 metres. She was the winner of the junior title here back in 2003, still just 19. What a sensational athlete Tirunesh Dibaba is. Perhaps the strongest of the Ethiopians in this field. We've seen her in fine form during the winter indoors. She's had a world indoor record for 5,000 metres in Boston, 14:32.93. She's also a good short course specialist, so who knows, maybe she's going to emulate the achievements of Kenenisa Bekele and win the double here. Bekele's done it 3 times already, and he's already got off to a good start here by winning the men's short course. Well, it's a Chi-Chi out in front. In second place, Alice Timberlil. In third place is Tirnesh Dibaba. Johnson just slipping back a bit now. Johnson, you can see there in 5th place, the gap starting to open. Although the Australian hanging on at the back. You've got to imagine the Australian has been putting some miles in with preparation for those marathons in mind. But a Chi-Chi on the inside. Alongside her, Alice Timberlil. Dibaba there in 3rd place. Five athletes away. This time, they hear the gun. The final circuit. 3 circuits gone, 1 more to go. Alice Timberlil wearing 8:57. Dibaba, that very springy stride, wearing 539. 541, that's Meslej Melkamu in 3rd place. A Chi-Chi just starting to slip to the back of the group. You've got to think maybe her best running behind her in this race. Through the muddy section again. And Dibaba just floats across the surface, doesn't she? Melkamu coming through there into 2nd place. Also having a good run now, Worknesh Kadani. You can see Kadani now in 4th place. And Dibaba is kicking on. It's a very impressive performance indeed. Just 19. What a career she's had, and at that age you'd have thought she's got plenty left in her. But Tirnesh Dibaba in super form on the track. If anything, in better form here. And she's kicking on, looking over her shoulder, and she's well on her way to victory. Just less than 100 metres to go now. It's a well-timed run. Tirnesh Dibaba is going to take it. It's a race for 2nd between Alice Timberlil and Worknesh Kadani. But Dibaba opening up that gap with every stride. What a performance it's been by the 19-year-old. The World Junior Champion over the country from 2 years ago becomes the senior champion here, and Timberlil just gets 2nd in front of Worknesh Kadani. Well, Kadani, another former champion on the country, picks up a bronze medal here. In 4th place was Meslej Melkamu with a Chi-Chi, who was at the front for so long in 5th. A good run from Benita Johnson, the champion from 12 months ago, finishes 7th. Well, the Ethiopians doing so well already. We've had 3 races, and so far we've got 3 Ethiopian champions. Well, Tirnesh, literally translated, says or means, you are good. She certainly is good, isn't she? 26:34. She wins it. Alice Timberlil gets silver. Worknesh Kadani, 26:37, the same time as a silver medalist. The first non-African, Benita Johnson, in 7th. Colleen de Ruyck, former South African, now representing the United States, in 13th, just behind Kimberly Smith of New Zealand. The Portuguese have had a good run here. You can see there, 24th, 26th. I think they've done well in the team competition. Japanese in 28th and 29th. Natalie Harvey of Great Britain, 1 place in front of her British teammate Hayley Yelling. They're in 32nd and 33rd. A sneak preview into the future of men's distance running on the world stage. The men's junior race. And Kenya have done so well in this over the years. Wilfred Karochi, he won it twice. Ishmael Karui, brother of the late Richard Chilimo. Karui went on to win senior titles outdoors on the track. Philip Mossima, he won it twice, never made the step up really to senior competition. And Eliud Kipchoge, who most certainly did. Well, if 213 there looks familiar, it's for good reason. Tariko Bekele, younger brother of Kenenisa, leads the Ethiopian challenge. Bekele is just 18. And the worrying thing for distance athletes around the world is that at the same age, Tariku is rather quicker than Kenenisa. So more than 130 athletes. 4 circuits of the Hippodrome. Look out for the Qataris, they're well represented. You can see them there. There they are. Track and field in that part of the world getting better and better all the time. A couple of South Africans you can see nearest to the picture as well, wearing the green and yellow vests. But the Kenyans showing well. Barnabas Kosgei wearing 256, Bernard Kipyego 255, Moses Messiah 258. They're all running in those Kenyan vests. But as for the Ethiopians, well, a strong field here. Bekele, we've talked about him already. Abdisa Disasa, Chala Lemi, Solomon Molla. The pace not that quick at the moment, though they've only been running for around about 400 metres. They're running well inside, 3 minutes a kilometre. You can expect them to be running for somewhere in the region of 23, 24, perhaps even 25 minutes. The South African at the front at the moment, wearing 289. There he is on the left-hand side of your picture. And Kosinoksolo, as well as the white vest there of Bahrain. But you can see on the fringes on both the left and the right, those red vests of Kenya. Their pride, among other things, has been hurt a great deal in recent times, having seen the success of Ethiopia, and they'll have seen 3 Ethiopian champions already here. The Kenyans anxious to record a victory. So 5 men away, 4 Kenyans, 1 Ethiopian. The sole Ethiopian wearing 216, Solomon Molla. And he's surrounded by Choge, Kipyego, Kosgei and Macharinyang. The Kenyans, they really in this position, for years and years they've run astute tactical races, running for one another rather than as individuals. And here, well, they simply outnumber the Ethiopians over those man-made humps. They're into the last 2 kilometres now. And you can see just how much the pace has picked up, can't you? At the head of the field, Augustin Choge. What a super athlete he is. Last season on the track, he became the youngest ever man to break 13 minutes for 5,000 metres. You go back to 1987, well, that was the first time that 13 minutes was broken by any man. Now we've got a teenager doing it. Augustin Choge, there he is, 254. And now the Ethiopian has been dropped. And it is the world junior champion out in front, Augustin Choge. In second place, Bernard Kipyego, 256. That's Barnabas Kosgei. And the Kenyans, who have won every team title in this men's junior race since 1988, with the exception of one in 1998, when, you've guessed it, it was the Ethiopians who won the team title. Well, I think the Kenyans are going to win it again here. And now Augustin Choge, who has simply cranked up the pace almost with every passing kilometre. He takes a little look over his shoulder, and he's well on his way to victory. Now moving into the finishing straight. Augustin Choge has got time to relax, open up his stride, enjoy the plaudits. Bernard Kipyego it is in second place, putting in a good sprint finish there, Kipyego. And Kosgei is in third, and these 3 are well away from the rest. Though looking back, it seems to me as if we may well have Kenyans in 4th and 5th as well. There we have. The first 5 look like being Kenyans. The first Ethiopian now, Tariko Bekele, the brother of Kenenisa, will be the first Ethiopian home. And in 7th place, yet another Kenyan, Moses Masai, another outstanding track runner. And Solomon Molla, well, he paid, didn't he, for going with the leading Kenyans. He finishes in 8th. We'll look out for this man in years to come. Augustin Choge, brilliant on the track and equal to that on the country. And it's no great surprise that the Kenyans have also won the team prize comfortably from Ethiopia in second place. And Qatar, they had a good run, didn't they? They put some good athletes out here. They finished third. The men's long race. And there he is, Kenenisa Bekele. said after Brussels last year, "I will not go for another double." Well, he's not a man of his word here, is he? Because he's back again, having won a short race title 24 hours ago. The Kenyans, what a team that is. Charles Kamati, former global champion, also in the field for the Kenyans. John Chariot Korea, Moses Mossop, Wilberforce Talel, Eliud Kipchoge. Kipchoge, world champion at 5,000 metres 2 years ago, where he beat Kenenisa Bekele. 12,020 metres, 6 circuits. The classic distance in many respects in cross-country running. Former champions, well, many of the greats. Ian Stewart of Great Britain won this 30 years or so ago. Carlos Lopez, remember him winning the Olympic marathon title at the age of 37 in Los Angeles in 1984, a former winner of this title. The great American Craig Virgin, John Ngugi, perhaps the greatest of them all, the Kenyan, won this title on 5 occasions, as did his countryman Paul Tergat. And Kenenisa Bekele is here, seeking to make it 4. A big field, around about 150. And already the Kenyans showing at the front, as is in the green vest, Bekele. So Bekele now unbeaten in 20 straight cross-country races. Can he make it 21? Moses Mossop is out in front. Bekele slipping back into about 4th place. Mossop, an interesting athlete, improved his 10,000 metre time a couple of years ago in a single race by almost a minute and a half. 4:30, Eliud Kipchoge. He's lying in 2nd place, just inside Bekele. Kipchoge's been in fine form on the country. He won the long course race at Edinburgh this winter, as well as winning the long title back at home in Kenya. So Kipchoge is in fine form. The vests of Qatar also showing prominently there. Abdullah Ahmed Hassan, the former Albert Chep Curry, former Kenyan of course, he's here, and this his best distance, so expect him to feature as well. They're going to be running for well over half an hour, so these very much the early stages. But with the twists and turns and the variable surface, we've got those almost man-made muddy tracks. And you can see those banks here, those humps in the course, which just upset the rhythm just a little bit. It's vital that you don't try and come from too far back. There are so many twists and turns, and these obstacles demand 100% concentration all of the time. The temperatures do suit the Africans in the high 20s. It's a wonderful day here in France. Showing prominently at the front there, the sky blue vests. Those are of Eritrea. Sene Tedesi weighs 374, a very fine runner indeed. He won a bronze medal in the 10,000 metres at the Olympic Games last year. That in fact was Eritrea's first ever Olympic medal. He's a 27.5-minute man over 10,000 metres, so depending what sort of form he's in, expect him to be somewhere near the front today, and he's already up there with the leading rank. So Bekele just looking around left and right, as is Kipchoge. These athletes know one another so well. They know who to follow. They know who will provide the opposition later on. Into the 2nd kilometre. The pace is fierce, isn't it? Remember, this is a 12-kilometre race. The blue there of France. And it is the Eritreans making their way through to the front. Sene Tedesi, just 23, wearing 374. He's back there just on the inside behind Bekele, and it's 2 of his teammates who are at the front now as they go over those logs. as I said before, they're not real barriers in themselves, but they serve to break up the rhythm. So the leading group has been whittled down. Bekele alongside Kipchoge, and Kipchoge just giving him a bit of an elbow there and saying, I'm the one who's got the curb, who's got the tape, got the tight line. You're not going to take it. So it's Kipchoge, 4.30. Alongside him, 60. That's Kenenisa Bekele. Nagere is the second of the Ethiopians. Tedesse just slipping back a little bit now into fourth place. But Kipchoge is really testing the champion. And remember, Kipchoge beat Bekele in the World Championships on the track 2 years ago. But Bekele seeking what would be a remarkable fourth cross-country double. Never been done before, although you have to put that into some sort of perspective and consider the fact that it's only relatively recently that we've had 6 races, or 6 titles, individual titles that is, at the World Cross Country Championships. So Kenenisa Bekele, alongside some great company, you would have to say, is, if he wins here, the outstanding cross-country runner of all time. So relaxed. Such a traumatic start to the year, losing his fiancée out on a training run. And here he is, and he's back, and he's got Kipchoge. It's the classic duel. It's Kenya against Ethiopia. It was over 5,000 metres in 2003 in Paris when Kipchoge beat Bekele. Also in that field, Hicham Garouge. You can see Tedesse has now moved into third place. He's had a busy winter, has Tedesse. Runs his club athletics in Spain. And Tedesse, if anything, perhaps closing the gap just a little bit on the 2 men out in front. But Bekele looks so comfortable, doesn't he? Just a bit of a grimace there from the Kenyan. You're looking for the smallest signs at this stage of the race. Approaching the 10-kilometre mark. Soon they'll embark on their final circuit. 5 circuits gone, 1 to go. And there you can see a little bit of physicality. Bekele just leaning in on Kipchoge. There's the gun, signifying the final circuit. It's the classic duel. Stride for stride. Bekele just testing the Kenyan, seeing what he's got left. And there is just a suggestion of a little bit of daylight. And you can hear this big crowd getting very excited. Bekele looking for a fourth double. A short course title on the first day. On his way now, perhaps, to the long course, the long race on day 2. And now there is a gap. The crowds sense that there is history of a kind in the making here. Through the muddy section for the 6th and final time. And he does afford himself a bit of a smile. Raises his right arm. Tedesse has now moved into second place, has the Eritrean. But he's a long, long way behind the leader. It's now about, 60 metres or so, the gap. And Kipchoge has fallen away quite dramatically. So Kenenisa Bekele will turn into the finishing straight in a couple of moments' time. There he goes, passing some lap runners. He knows how significant this is. And after such a bad start to 2005, well, this gives him some small consolation after the personal tragedy, out on a training run, which we know affected him so badly. We saw that when we saw him compete indoors. But he's back here and showing that he is the outstanding cross-country runner in the world. 21 straight victories on the country. His 9th World cross-country title. In fact, would you believe the last man to beat Kenenisa Bekele on the country was his great countryman, Haile Gebrselassie, and that was back in Dunkirk on December the 2nd, 2001. Tedeschi comes in second place, and it's going to be the former Albert Chepkarui, Abdullah Ahmed Hassan, who comes in for third place. And Eliud Kipchoge, well, he's out on his feet, isn't he? And he finishes fifth. So there it is, a winning margin of 14 seconds to Kenenisa Bekele. It was Sene Tedeschi of Eritrea in second place. And we look down, a good run there by the Ugandan, Boniface Kiprop. Kiprop finishing in seventh place. Talal, the Kenyan, finishing in 11th place. Not only an individual title here to Ethiopia, but they will win the team prize as well. The Kenyans in second place and Qatar in third. Craig Mottram, good run there by the Australian, in 22nd place. But as has become the fashion in recent times, it's turning into Ethiopia's weekend. They've now won 4 individual titles. Anything Bekele can do, perhaps Dibaba can do at least as well. Dibaba, the winner of the short course title, goes here for a long and short race double. The Kenyans again strong, perhaps led by Isabella Richichi. There, 4 individual titles out of 5. Can Tirnesh Dibaba make it 5 out of 6? 100 athletes leave the starting gates. 4,196 metres. That's 2 circuits of the track. The Belgian team, you can see there. The first women's short race run in 1998. With Edith Masai of Kenya having won the last 3, but she's not here today. A pretty fast pace. They're going to be on the course here for somewhere around about 13 minutes, between 13 and 14 minutes. But important that the best athletes find themselves getting close to the front nice and early. 616, that's Dokus Nzikuru of Uganda. And the tall athlete wearing the white vest, that is in fact the white vest of Poland, Justina Lesman. But look out for those green vests of Ethiopia working their way towards the front. Meselech Melkamu's here. And Worknesh Kadani. Worknesh Kadani has won 19 medals at World Cross Country Championships. Would you believe? That's a remarkable achievement. Prishar Jepluting wearing 577 for Kenya. She's right up at the front. She was second in the 2004 African Games 5,000 metres. Also a former silver medalist in the junior race at these championships. There she is, Jepluting, 577. Wearing 601 in second place, Dina Palula of South Africa. Also Carmen Duma-Hassar, back in about 6th place, the Canadian. Expect a good run from her. Approaching the end of the first 800 metres or so. This race just a little more than 4,000 metres. But Tirnesh Dibaba is moving through there into about 5th or 6th place. Just up one of those man-made mounds. Those do serve, though, to break up the rhythm. And Dibaba very quickly has moved into 2nd place behind Jepluting, the Kenyan. They're just starting to be strung out a little bit. Duma-Hassar, you can see wearing the red of Canada, back in about 12th or 13th place. She's a very good track athlete. I think she might struggle in this company. The Kenyans at the moment packing best of all. The team standings, they at the moment lead, though Ethiopia just behind them. The Americans are having a good run. Look out for Lauren Fleshman, wearing 620. She's the leading American in the field at the moment, along with Blake Russell. They're well into the second half of the race now, and 6 have got away. 3 Kenyans, 3 Ethiopians. Let's try and identify them for you. In the Kenyan vests, Prisha Jepleting, Isabella Achichi, and also the third of the Kenyans, Lucy Wangui. In the green vest of Ethiopia, well, the unmistakable figure, Tirunesh Dibaba, they're back in third place. Alongside her, Meselech Melkamu and Worknesh Kidani. Over those little humps there. And out in front at the moment, it is Jepleting, the winner of the silver medal in the junior race at these championships 8 years ago. So well now into the third kilometre. You hear the gun, it's the final circuit. And it is Jepleting who leads. Kenya 1, 2, 3. Isabella Achichi, silver medalist in the Olympic Games over 5,000 metres, has finished third, fourth and fifth in successive World Short Course Cross Country Championship races. So can she go better here? So Tirunesh Dibaba, who is going to beat her? They're in second place, just moving into the slipstream of Jepleting. They'll all be gathering themselves for the sprint finish now. They've got somewhere around about 1,000 metres to go. And there are still 6 there. 3 Ethiopians, 3 Kenyans. A marvellous day, a big crowd here in France. Those logs really providing no serious obstacle to these 6. Jepleting still out in front. Kidani, you can just see in the background there, but Dibaba, that high arm carriage there in third place, just following every move of the leader. Achichi, that is, right at the back of the field in the Kenyan vest, but it's still Jepleting out in front. 5:78, that's Lucy Wangui. Wangui, 4:09, 1,500 metre runner. And Wangui really competing above expectation. She finished just 6th in the Kenyan National Championships. Here now, in the top 6 in the world. But Dibaba, she won the long course title yesterday. Can she win the short race here? They're in second place. But Jepleting there to be shot at. Well inside the last 600 metres or so now. And Worknesh Kidani applying the pressure, perhaps trying to break up this group of 6. Dibaba following her closely and just struggling at the back of that group now. Melkamu, the third of the Ethiopians. But it is Worknesh Kidani, a former world champion on the country, who's kicking on, and she's taking Dibaba with her. Isabella Achichi through the mud. This should break them up. They're all trying to find the best route through there. Achichi has responded, but Kidani has done the work for Dibaba. And these two are moving away, and they're opening up a gap. Isabella Achichi is the best of the Kenyans there in third place. But they're into the last 250 metres now. And Tirunesh Dibaba has just Worknesh Kidani between her and a double here at the World Cross Country Championships. Kidani has won 19 medals at the World Cross Country Championships, both individual and team. Dibaba kicking on though, just looks over her shoulder. And Dibaba looks as if perhaps she's got it. She's opening up 2 or 3 metres. She has been the outstanding female distance runner indoors and on the country in the early part of 2005. And she completes a double here. Tirunesh Dibaba is the world champion for the second time in the weekend. Worknesh Kidani very happy with her second place. Isabella Achichi is there in third, and Prisha Jepleting comes through for fourth. So, what a weekend it's been for the Ethiopians. They've won 5 out of the 6 individual titles here. 2 of them to Kenenisa Bekele, and now 2 to Tirunesh Dibaba. Well, the first non-Ethiopian or Kenyan finished in 10th place, Alevtina Ivanova of Russia, Lauren Fleshman for the United States in 11th. Good performances by two Australians, Sarah Jameson in 13th and Anna Thompson in 19th. Jolene Byrne for Ireland, she finished 17th, good run from her. Shane Culpepper of the United States in 21st and Carmen Duma-Hassar, we saw her earlier, 25th. A double for Tirunesh Dibaba and a 4th straight double for that man, Kenenisa Bekele. From Saint-Galmier, bye-bye.